You know what? The Walking Dead ruined zombie stories. There, I said it. I used to love The Walking Dead. I have every volume, every compendium, and I even managed to watch the TV show for about 4 seasons. I genuinely believe that Robert Kirkman had the best intentions writing his story. He wanted to see what would happen after a typical zombie movie would end, but that kind of ruined everything. These days, the market has become so saturated mostly by other Walking Dead spin-offs, and none of them actually tell a simple story anymore. I don't need to watch these characters overcome the apocalypse and rebuild society. I don't want 12 more seasons after the main character has already died or has gone missing or whatever happened to Rick. Who the hell are these kids? Where did you come from? Are you trying to get yourself bit? Why? Trust me, when the writers want you out, you'll die. It doesn't even matter if you had a contract before. Bring back Carl, I don't care how. The plot's already fucked anyway. Might as well say Eugene built a time machine. It's about as believable as anything else in this TV show. There's a sort of beauty in a neatly wrapped story about a group of people trying to escape an infected city before it's too late. I miss that. I guess you could say I just didn't think I would miss Resident Evil's version of it. Let me explain.
Who the fuck are you?
Resident Evil came out in 2002, and Paul W.S. Anderson wanted to make a sequel but couldn't because he was directing Alien vs. Predator. Rather than letting somebody else touch his fanfiction, he wrote the screenplay to Apocalypse and brought in Alexander Witt to finish the job. And honestly, it kind of worked. This isn't a masterpiece, but I think it provides campy, stupid fun. And it's all I ever wanted as a 10-year-old boy who loved zombies. Anderson chose to base this story off of Capcom's Resident Evil 3, and together, him and Witt created what's probably the closest we'll ever get to a live-action Resident Evil movie that's actually faithful. And whenever I say faithful, I mean incredibly loosely. They introduced characters like Jill Valentine, Nemesis, and even Carlos, but they're all sort of background characters compared to Mila's Alice. She is both the best and worst thing about this movie. Nemesis is like Jill's main antagonist in the game, except he has almost nothing to do with her in this movie. And also, Carlos, the person who accompanies Jill throughout the entirety of Resident Evil 3, has like no interactions with her here. Nemesis and Carlos are both devoted to Alice's plotline. Jill's sort of just an extra. Who the fuck are you? Oh, I'm you, but stronger. Why did you even cast her other than to fanbait? I went into this in my last video on the series, and I'll elaborate more here, but I really feel like Anderson ruined Alice's character this time around. So strap in as we go through the story and talk about how Paul turned Alice into a superhero. In the first movie, Alice was just an Umbrella security guard who wanted to leak information about the T-virus. Instead, she ended up trapped inside the same zombie-filled facility that she was sworn to protect. Her and another survivor named Matt nearly escaped but were caught by scientists at the last moment who do all sorts of experiments on them. The movie ended with Alice waking up in Raccoon City only to find out that it's been taken over by zombies and Matt is nowhere to be found. It's an eerie but empowering moment where we watch her, one of the few people with experience in the situation, grab a shotgun and face this challenge head on with nothing but basic combat training and a burning desire for revenge. I would argue that it's not only one of the better endings in video game movie history, but one of the best endings in the Resident Evil franchise as a whole. Despite Alice's efforts to stop Umbrella and expose them for the evil organization that they are, it's simply too late. Keeping with this theme, Apocalypse is dripping in anti-corporatism, or at least the shallowest ideas of it. And from the start, we see that Umbrella basically owns Raccoon City. They control the media, influence the police, and even keep a watchful eye on their citizens through CCTV a la Big Brother style. When the T-virus begins to break loose, they evacuate most of their important scientists. Among those sits Dr. Charles Ashford, but he won't leave without his daughter Angela, who's now missing. As the infection spreads, we're introduced to Jill Valentine, and we're even delivered some visual exposition in the process. It's easy to miss, but it turns out that she was suspended from duty over alleged monster sightings. These clippings were actually published as promotional material, where it states that Jill has seen the zombies before, and she thinks Umbrella is to blame. It's pretty neat. I wish we got to see more of this in the movie. Together, Jill and her partner Peyton try to escape, but seeing how bad the outbreaks become, Umbrella blocks the way out and locks everybody inside the city.
Get away from him! Everybody stand back! Close them.
Sir?
Seal the gates.
Our men are still
Just
out
do
there.
it.
Wait a minute. There are actual walls surrounding this place? Do cities in the United States commonly have walls? Fact checking, no. I guess Resident Evil takes place in 15th century Europe, where everybody lives in serfdom underneath their umbrella overlords? Okay, by the way, here's Carlos, he gets bit. He's not nearly as sexy as the Resident Evil 3 remake. Jill, Peyton, and Terry find shelter in a nearby church. Realizing something's not right, Jill's detective instincts kick in, and she discovers it's infested with lickers. Out of ammo, Jill uses her cunning wit to survive and quickly helps save the group from a gruesome death. Nah, I'm just kidding. Alice somehow knew they were trapped inside the church and busts through the glass riding a motorcycle. How did she even get that kind of angle? She then single-handedly kills every licker in the room. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, from this point forward, it is very clearly Alice's movie. Umbrella might have lost control of the city, but they're gonna use this as an opportunity to test out their new bioweapon, Nemesis. But first we get a moment of naked zombie strippers. This guy's insatiable horniness can't even be stopped by the power of necromancy. And what else can I say that's just impressive? Oh, by the way, remember Ashford? Yeah, he convinces all the main characters to find his daughter by offering them a way out of the city. Pretty much their only option because in a few hours, the whole place is gonna get bombed.
No fucking deal. We find the building with the thickest walls, the strongest doors. We barricade ourselves in. Sit tight, wait for help.
There won't be any help. According to Ashford, Umbrella know they can't contain the infection. So at sunrise this morning, Raccoon City will be completely sanitized.
What do you mean by sanitized?
Precision tactical nuclear device.
Fuck me. What does that mean?
What do you mean, what does that mean? She literally just told you, it's a nuke! Despite Nemesis being programmed explicitly to hunt down the remaining police force, which means Jill, Umbrella, reprograms him to chase Alice instead. Jill, I'm so sorry, you deserved so much better. To Anderson's credit, Alice isn't completely immortal, she does manage to break her fingers after escaping death by rocket launcher. Our survivors make it to the school Angela's hiding in. Terry, in all of her infinite importance, dies along with some other expendables.
Oh my god.
Oh no, not Terry! Jill almost gets to say that she did something important, like saving Angela, but Alice does it instead. Yes, I'll agree, Alice is fun to watch. It's just that she seems to be the only person who's capable of doing anything. Anyway, it's here that we learn Angela is infected with the T-virus, or something, kind of. I guess her dad created it to make sure her legs don't stop working the same way his did? So now she has to carry around a briefcase of the antivirus and take it every day or else she'll become paralyzed. I know Umbrella took the virus away from Ashford in the movie, so what I'm wondering is how does she still have enough antiviruses to supply her body with what she needs to continue to walk? I mean, look at her arm, she clearly isn't holding back. Whatever, Alice steals Angela's antivirus and uses it on Carlos? Sorry kid, nobody walks forever. And the group heads down to the extraction point to get out of here. Except, surprise, Umbrella stops them. Big Baddie here kills Ashford and then makes Alice fight Nemesis because this is what Umbrella wanted all along, to make her into a super soldier, and now he wants to see which one of them is stronger. By the way, shocker, Nemesis is just a mutated Matt, and deep down, he just wants to be a good guy again. He turns on the main Umbrella guy and helps everybody escape. The nuclear bomb explodes over the city, and as they're flying away on their helicopter, the debris, I think, impales Alice, and she finally dies. The end. Nah, I'm just kidding with you. They all survive, but Alice gets to survive, and this time she gets even cooler superpowers. The movie ends on a cliffhanger, leaving people wonder what Umbrella plans on doing with their newly mind-controlled Alice. Oh my god, this was such... Whoa! What I did like about Apocalypse is that, once again, the atmosphere is just as enjoyable as it was in the first movie. Anderson did well at portraying Umbrella as the sinister entity they are, and their looming presence throughout the entirety of Raccoon City is so enjoyable that this alone makes up for a lot of what's lost in the character and plot departments. There's the theme of anti-corporatism I mentioned earlier, and it's deliciously over the top and not very subtle at all, but that's okay. The movie wants you to consider how much companies do without you noticing and how scary that is because, well, it is scary. It's important to demand transparency from businesses, and maybe even employ a healthy amount of cynicism and research before blindly devoting your lives to them. If only the people of Raccoon City had done the same.
Regenerate. Another breakthrough from the Umbrella Corporation. Regenerate's revolutionary T-cell formula actually brings dead cells back to life. Some side effects may occur.
Well, she's the biggest part of this movie, so it's without surprise I have to talk about her. Earlier, I said Alice is both the best and worst thing to happen in this film, and I think it's because she's just too perfect. Make no mistake, she is incredibly fun to watch, but her ability to do just about anything leaves little room for other characters to shine. Everyone else seems lame when compared to the feats of strength Alice is performing. Even Nemesis is kind of a chump. I don't think having superpowers is a bad thing. I love superhero movies, but superheroes struggle and usually undergo character arcs to save the day. Alice was injected with the T-virus and almost immediately knows how to pull off these fantastical moves that even an Olympic gymnast would have to train for. I hate this term, so I don't use it lightly, but I think it's one of the few times calling a character a Mary Sue makes sense. Alice didn't have to work for anything. All of her strengths were given to her by Paul W.S. Anderson because, I don't know, he thought it would look cool? And yeah, that's true, it does. Except as a storyteller, he should have considered that one of the reasons people fell in love with characters like Jill is that her accomplishments didn't come easily. She earned them through proper development. In both the video games and movie, Jill received the best police training Raccoon City had to offer. It's no wonder she survived the outbreak. And while yes, she is an action hero, she has limits. At the end of the day, she's just a normal woman trying her best to survive under extreme circumstances. Although largely independent, there were moments in the original game where she needed help to survive. This vulnerability makes her more relatable to an audience, and I think she's even more inspiring this way. She's just a regular person, but has the mental fortitude to get her through anything. A little sad, actually, thinking about how Alice's lack of character sort of results in people reducing her to just this neat piece of eye candy, with everybody else kind of being forgotten. Lethal Mega Babe Alice is back. The rest of the movie is one long fight scene with zombie dogs, slobbering creatures, and a big monster with a rocket launcher, all wanting to waste the killer babe squad. There's like 3 women in the main cast. One of them is Terry, who basically isn't a character at all? Or are you implying that both LJ and Carlos are also a part of the Babe Squad? Do they tickle your pickle? This is one of the most depressing film reviews I've ever seen, but I'm sure many people perceived Apocalypse the same way. I wish these characters had better representation. I mean, Jill has more character in the fake newspaper article than she does in the whole movie. I don't know a better way to explain the problem other than saying these films aren't about Alice's character set in the Resident Evil universe. It's the concept of Resident Evil sprinkled into Alice's universe. And it's just not compelling screenwriting when we only have one character that's worth investing in. So, is Resident Evil Apocalypse better than I remembered? Honestly, no. It's a lot worse. We're living in an era where zombie stories like The Walking Dead never end, and that's exhausting. The thought of returning to something simple like Apocalypse comforted me, but the rose-tinted goggles of nostalgia didn't last very long. In many ways, I'm left wanting more of a hybrid between these two styles of zombie media, where we have fully developed characters experience a story in a limited amount of runtime, as to avoid fatigue and tell a compelling narrative that doesn't feel bloated with filler. I know they're out there. I guess I'll finally have to take the plunge and expose myself to something different. Maybe even sit down and check out Train to Busan and immerse myself in the stories cultures other than my own are creating. There is a whole world of cinema out there, so why are we limiting ourselves to that which we're familiar with? I should be trying something new, something outside of my comfort zone. Something that widens my perspective of what's accomplishable through the magnificent art of filmmaking. I think that would be nice. Don't you? Wait a second, what's that? Well, it looks like they're rebooting the franchise, so I guess that's something to look forward to. Although, you should still consider the thing I said about, you know, the multicultural world of cinema or whatever, I don't know, it might be worth your time. My name's JSK, and as always, have a lovely day. And follow me on Twitter, goddammit!